Our next project is going to involve utilizing data from the California State University system, and we're going to take a look at enrollment for the past 6 years, and then we'll be doing some calculations, once again some percent change, some statistical analysis, and also doing a variety of charts with that data. So the first step for you to do is to go ahead and pause the screen, and you'll want to get this particular chart created, or worksheet. Get this worksheet entered into your Excel, and so bring up a blank document and go ahead and get all these numbers entered, and then we will move on at that point. Okay, so we're assuming you have all this data in. Let's take a look at some formatting that we can do here, and we'll start off with column A. And so what you're going to do is format the width of this column. Now, you've learned in the past that we can go in there and move our columns as such. The other way to do it, though, is to go in and make a specific choice as far as what you want that width to be. So here from the home menu, come on over here to this section right here, this format button, and select column width. And once you select column width, go ahead and make that column width 20. 20. Click OK, and there you have it. And then do a similar technique right here for these 6 columns, B through G, format, column width, and we're going to set those to 10. Column width of 10, so they'll all be consistent. We'll go ahead and leave the rows. Let me see what I have for rows here. I think we will set those rows. Select all the rows all the way down to Sonoma. Format. And now we want to do row height. And set that to 15. 15. Click OK. If you haven't done so already, you want to center all of our headings. And so that's done right here. Just like that. And then select bold. If it's not bold, select the B bold under the font section. Next, let's go ahead and format our values so they're easier to read. We're going to use the comma format. And so I'll go and show you on your version of this. Select all the values. And then you have comma format right there. Now it added in all these decimal places. If that happens, just go ahead and decrease it. We're just going to not have any decimal places for these. So once again, select the values and select the comma format. No decimal places. So there are our values. Next step will be to go in and to enter in these new headings here so that we can do some calculations. And we will go ahead and make these columns. Let's see what we're going to do here. I think we'll make them all, let's see here, format, column width. Yep, let's make all of those 15. So the way you would do that is to select these columns, I through M, format, column width, set it to 15. And then once again, put these 2 rows and 5 columns, everything centered. And let's make it bold. And then also underneath row 4, come over to our border tool and put a bottom border. So pause the video if you need to, rewind, get that done, and then I'll go in and we'll take a look at some of these calculations. And once we do a few calculations, I'll let you go to work on those, and that will conclude part 1 of our Cal State University. And so if you can get that done, we will continue on upon my return to class on Tuesday. So the next step is to calculate the total for each of these CSU campuses that we are analyzing. We don't have all of them here, but I put some of the ones that I have knowledge of, people attending, some people that I know, also students from Tule Lake that have gone to these popular campuses. So what we're going to do is add these totals up for each of the campuses for these years. First step, equal sign. Type the word sum, parenthesis. Select all those values. We see a selection around this range of cells, B5 through G7, or through a G5, B5 through G5. Finish that, enter that, and then make sure it's formatted with the comma format. And then go ahead and do that formula for each of these. Calculate the campus or school total for all of these schools right here. Put that sum right here, just like you did right there. Next, these values right here, you can just go ahead and type those in. We're not going to, those are not based on a formula. Those are totals for every, or for all 23 schools within the CSU system. So we can just put here total for all CSU schools or campuses. And then you can format that with the comma. No decimal places. Just like that. And we'll use those values later on doing some percent calculations. All right, so if you've paused and now you're ready to move on, next is to calculate the mean value for the last 6 years for each of these schools. And a quick review of that would be equal average. Select that range of cells, parenthesis, and remember you can also click the check mark, and that way the active cell remains J5, which is the one that we want. And so what you can do here then is that we want to go ahead and do that for the rest of these to calculate that average, but you could use the little fill handle right here. And what that'll do is it'll copy that formula all the way down, like so. And calculate the mean average for each of those. And in a similar fashion, you can do that for the median. Equal sign median. Select your values. Check mark. And fill or copy down and get the median value for each of those 6 years for each of these schools that we are analyzing. Percent change from 2010 to 2015. What we want to do in this situation is to see what percent enrollment has changed over these 6 years here. So from this point to this point, we want to see how much of a change there has been. Now we could take a look at it and do that same kind of calculation from 14 to 15 to see how big the change was for each year. But for now, we'll just look at 2010 to 2015 and see what has happened to enrollment for each of these schools. I want to keep in mind we're doing a calculation for percent, so it's always going to be part divided by the whole. So, equal sign. First thing we need to do is to calculate the difference between 2015 and 2010. So we need to put that calculation in parentheses and click on the latest or newest value. minus the 2010 value, and then divide that by the oldest value or by the 2010 value. So we calculate the amount of change, this 17,000 minus the 14,000, and we get our answer, and we have to put that in parentheses to control that operation. We need that subtraction to take place first, and then we want to divide it by the starting point. And we can click the check mark. That's in a decimal form, and so we need to convert that to a percentage. So 0.176 converted to the percentage we're interested in is going to be 17.6%. So we are going to click on percent, and we want to have one decimal place, just like that. So I'd like for you to practice that calculation a few times rather than just copy it. Because that one is it's going to be a calculation you're going to use lots of different applications here in class, and then also as you go out and work in the business world. And if you go on the course in college, you'll be doing percent change. We're always interested in how things change over time. So once again, don't forget the parenthesis. In fact, if you want to experiment without the parenthesis and see what happens, that'll be a good little activity for you to do, and then we can talk about that when I return. New value minus our old value divided by the old value. Oops, could have clicked that check mark, but now I have to go back, click percent, increase decimal by 1. And there you go. So go ahead and practice the rest of those. And then when I return, we'll go ahead and work on this and talk about another way to reference cells so that we can use the copy command.